Well, Holly, thank you so much for sitting down to chat with me for a couple minutes about your experience with the real life behavior plan system.
Yes, it's great.
So, could you tell us just a little bit, what was the problem that you were having that made you even look for a course like this and then finally purchase it?
So I was feeling really desperate that I was having a difficult time making a mental shift that I needed to make. I had read enough to know, and I was observing cause and effect in my home to know that I need to make a change in how I'm interacting with my adopted daughter. But I tried to make this shift and just could not do it on my own. I was in a real place of desperation.
Yeah. Were you just struggling with big behaviors, or were you just kind of concerned about where your relationship was heading?
Yeah, I think the funny thing was when I read your bullet points, I was in desperation. And at some point, I've read your stuff, I've read your I get your emails. The right thing just popped up. It was 5 bullet points. It was me. It literally was me, your bullet points. I'm like, how could she have written this so perfectly for me? So I really resonated with these. This is what I'm struggling with. Very well written. But it was just that place of desperation, like the relationship was really bad. So I didn't know how. I knew I needed to connect. I knew I should be connecting, but I couldn't connect. And I
Mm.
was just blocked because of not being able to truly kind of diagnose her. That's how I would put it, or to fully understand and embrace where she was at.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so hard. There's so many different layers, right?
Yeah, there are, exactly.
Yeah. So what was different? I'm assuming possibly you had read a lot of books or tried a lot of other things. What was different about the real life behavior plan system versus other things you had tried?
So I'm trying to figure this out because I was familiar with some of the material. I had done a TBRI training. I had read about attachment. I read about felt safety. I had read about, some of the ideas in the program. But, in the beginning of my journey, I really had, number one, trouble with trusting people that were telling me what to do when they didn't live with an adopted child. So that's one reason I had initially found you, Melissa, and your material, because I thought she knows. It didn't matter to me if you were PhD, if you weren't living with a child, you know? So there was that initial trust that I didn't have in some sources that kind of blocked me from really receiving the information. That was a factor. I felt like I could trust Melissa. She's been here before. Sorry, I think I have some. You might want to pause it. I have some music going accidentally. So I think that was part of it. But I think the biggest help for me was how systematized and distilled your information was. It pulled the pieces together very clearly. Things I had read here and there, it just pulled it together, all the important pieces really clearly. And I was able to identify without having to sort through a lot of information or stories, or it was just very distilled. Very easy for me to identify. Yes, okay, that's like, for example, talking about executive functioning, it's like she hits all 6 of those points. And I don't know if it was just the stage of life I'm in, but I could recognize bam, 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 bam. She has all of those. The way you explained it, it just made it clear to me. I've been struggling literally we've had her for 7.5, 8 years. I have been on this journey trying to figure this out. And it was like, for the first time, I realized she had a disability. Like, I really clearly saw the disability for what it was. I wish I had a better explanation, but that it just all clicked together for me.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful, right? Because I think sometimes we do think we know it all, right? You're like, what is there possibly out there that could tell me one more thing? I feel like I know it all, but sometimes it does, uh, organizing it differently helps, hearing about it differently helps, and having, I think you filled out that primary brain task assessment. And I just think that's been such a powerful tool in our family. And then also it's been fun to be able to share it with other people.
Yeah, it's like I think it was the absence of material that or information that didn't apply. It was like everything applied in my case. Everything seemed to apply to our situation too. Like, and I think it was just the simplicity of it. Like when you talked about the sensory aspects, like the different sensory issues, it was just so organized. I'm a very organized person. It was so organized, like, just so clear. Okay, we've got these and we've got these and and just simple. And just I could quickly like figure out what the issues were, what they weren't. The examples were really good. But I also enjoyed the ideas. I felt like it was a bit of a creative, like a hose, like a creative kind of flow of, all right, bam, bam, bam. Here's ideas for each of these pieces. I felt really empowered by that. And for the community, the Facebook community was a really important part as well. I felt like if I'm stuck in my action step of what I can do, I can go on and I can read a number of other people who are processing this right where I'm at, processing this information, and they've got a bunch of ideas for me. And that was really validating of my feelings and also empowering just to have creative ideas, every step of the way. So I really enjoyed that as well.
Yeah. Well, you said at the beginning you were kind of feeling stuck about, what to do, and you knew you had to do something different, but you didn't know kind of what to do. So now that you've been through all 21 days, how are you feeling now?
You know what? I'm so thankful. I feel like this has been such an answer to prayer. I've had so many people praying for me, but I truly feel like I've had a breakthrough. And it's really in being able to diagnose and be confident in my diagnosis of my daughter, like to be able to understand her. And that has actually helped me to calm down. It's helped me to, it's helped my hurt and my own pain level to come down, which has enabled me to take some simple steps at connecting, which was what I just couldn't do before. So it has been super powerful for me, a real breakthrough. That's why I'm so excited to just give my testimony and share. I know there's probably other moms that were like me that just needed it packaged for them. It's so concise, it's so distilled, and the bite-sized pieces. Okay, I love that part, that it was just like one little video a day and just get on. It was something I could just incorporate right away. It wasn't like a giant manual that I had to read in fine print. It was just so it was the package as well, made it doable for me. The price point I felt like was super reasonable. I mean, I have been paying $100 for one therapy session, and I got more out of this program than probably a year or 2 years of therapy, truly. Like, it was so helpful. I probably got all your years of what you've been through, and had to work through, I felt like super affordable. But just jumping in and not knowing what I was getting, I felt like that's not a bad price. I could do that. So yeah, it was excellent.
Well, thank you again so much for sharing. Anything else? I know you've shared a bunch of things about the conciseness and the bite-sized pieces, which again, all came trial by error because I am living your life and I know I'm so overwhelmed with information. Anything else that was really valuable and helpful along the way that you haven't already mentioned?
Yeah, I think the action points, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I liked having one thing to think about. And I love that you encouraged us at the end of each video too. So you gave us something to do, but you also encouraged us and told us we're doing a good job. And I know that meant a lot to me. It's hard to face into these hard places of our lives. And so it was the encouragement, but also just a simple step. It was something I could do in a day. And then again, all the ideas to help me kind of to take that step. to have ideas of, okay, what could my step be? Not too many ideas, but not too little either. I don't know. It's just
Oh,
perfect.
well, that's a great way to end. Again, Holly, thank you so much for just taking a couple minutes to share your story with us.
Thank you, Melissa. You have done a fantastic job. I hope you have many crowns in heaven for all of the work you've done and sharing yourself with others, really. So I hope a lot of people can get a hold of this program.
Oh, well, thank you. You're really sweet. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.